What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the next LMG. This is the DG-58 LSW. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and this gun's quite interesting. It actually deals the same amount of damage anywhere in the body, and with this, it's going to be a 5 to 6 shot kill. However, we deal a little bit more damage to the neck, and then we deal even more damage to the head. However, in that maximum damage range, you have to mix 2 headshots in with body shots in order to reduce that down to a 4-shot kill, or alternatively, you could do 2 body shots, 1 neck shot, and 1 headshot, and that would also work. As for our rate of fire, this is 706 rounds per minute, and what this means for our time to kill potential is with a 5-shot kill, it's going to take us 340 milliseconds to kill, and this is fairly slow. It's below average for LMGs and way below average for something like an SMG up close. And if we drop off to a 6-shot kill, it's now going to take us 425 milliseconds to kill, which again, even at longer ranges, that's a pretty slow time to kill. Now, if we do manage to mix multiple headshots in with body shots up close for a 4-shot kill, we can potentially kill in 255 milliseconds, which is a very fast time to kill, but you'll find that this isn't necessarily easy to do in practice with this gun. After that, let's have a look at our range values, and our 5-shot kill range will extend out to about 34 meters, which is not bad at all. That's pretty good for an LMG. Also, our bullet velocity is amazing at 880 meters per second. This is actually the best in the LMG category, and the LMGs are already really good on average, so this is amazing. And now let's have a look at hardcore game modes, and with this gun, we only get a 1-shot kill to the body in that maximum damage range. Anything beyond that will be a 2-shot kill, unless it's a headshot or a neck shot, in which case it will always be a 1-shot kill. As for Hipfire, it's right around average for LMGs in this game, and that means it's not very good, and you generally want to avoid hipfiring unless you're practically touching the enemy player. And then let's get into the recoil, and the recoil with this gun is quite interesting because there's a lot of randomness, especially with those initial shots that you fire, which are obviously the most important shots that you're firing. As you can see, comparing the left recoil plot to the right recoil plot, there's a huge difference in those first like 4 or 5 shots that you fire. And on the right side, those first few shots, that's impossible to properly predict and account for. And I have noticed that trend a lot while playing this in game as well. Like sometimes it's just fine. I hit my shots perfectly fine. And then other times it's like the gun just has a mind of its own and it just kicks so randomly on you and throws you off target quite a bit. So I would consider this to be a downside with this gun. It's not that it's insanely inaccurate, it's just that it's very inconsistent with its accuracy. But then let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is 370 milliseconds, which is right around average for LMGs, a little bit better than average actually. However, our sprint to fire time is very slow at 294 milliseconds. This is below average even for an LMG, so you definitely have to be careful running around with this gun. You don't want to get caught off guard while sprinting. As for our reload add time, this is actually quite fast for an LMG at 2.12 seconds. So as far as LMGs go, this is good, but this would be very slow for something like an assault rifle, for instance. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, let's have a look at our movement speeds. And across the board, it's noticeably above average for LMGs, so it actually excels in this area, as far as LMGs go at least. And now that we've got all the base stats covered, let's move into the aftermarket part, which is the Jak Nightshade Rifle Kit. And with this, it effectively turns this gun into an assault rifle, so our magazine capacity is now dropped to 30 rounds. Our damage profile is also completely changed, and up close and personal, we're still dealing 33 damage to the body, same as the base version of this gun. But now we also don't get any bonus damage to the head or the neck, and it also drops off much more harshly. It will drop down to 20 damage, which is an 8-shot kill in this game. Now, in order to offset that, our rate of fire is increased very noticeably up to 857 rounds per minute. And what this means is with a 5-shot kill, our new time to kill potential is 280 milliseconds, which is a highly competitive time to kill in this game. That actually competes very nicely with SMGs up close. However, it does increase pretty drastically as you start increasing the range. It gets all the way up to 490 milliseconds with an 8-shot kill, which is very, very slow. Next, let's have a look at our ranges compared to the base version of this gun, and as we can see, that maximum damage range is significantly reduced. It's only 12.7 meters now, which is much more along the lines of what you'd see with an SMG rather than an LMG or even an assault rifle. And then you can also see our 6-shot kill potential will extend out to about 36 meters. And anything beyond that is going to be a very slow 8-shot kill. It is also worth noting we lose some bullet velocity. It's now 700 meters per second, which honestly is still a very good bullet velocity for regular multiplayer. It's just not quite as amazing as the base bullet velocity. Then let's take a look at our recoil, and this is the big downside with using this. We get significantly increased recoil. It kicks upward very, very quickly. And it also has a weird pattern where it cuts pretty hard to the right after a little while, and then it immediately cuts backward to the left. So this makes this gun very difficult to use beyond like close to somewhat mid-range. And then finally, for this kit, let's have a look at our handling and mobility stats. Our aim down sight speed is extremely fast compared to the base at 224 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also very noticeably improved. And our reload add time is just a little bit faster here at 1.95 seconds. Again, this is quite fast for an LMG, but it would be on the slower side for something like an assault rifle. And then when it comes to mobility stats, these are all improved across the board. And this mobility is much more along the lines of what you'd see with a slower assault rifle rather than an LMG. And there we go, we can now finally move into some excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys, and the first one is my accuracy build. And this one took quite a bit of work to get together, but with this we're using the T5 1R billeted brake, the Woody long barrel, the Mark III reflector, the recoil reduction butt plate, and the Varanus steady rear grip. And with the combination of all these attachments, you can see our recoil is very noticeably improved. There's still that little bit of randomness with the first few shots fired, but at least that's all tightened up a lot, so it's not nearly as punishing as the base recoil of this gun. And with this, I still managed to keep the aim down sight time somewhat reasonable for an LMG at 378 milliseconds. That's only 8 milliseconds slower. Our sprint out time is noticeably slower than the base. Our range is improved a little bit, and also our bullet velocity is incredible at 997 meters per second. Overall, not a bad setup at all if you plan on just treating this like an LMG, hanging back a little bit, not rushing around aggressively, and just picking people off at mid to longer ranges. As for the next build I've got for you guys, this one's designed to be a little more versatile, getting around the map more effectively, and it's my stealth build. So with this, we're using the Shadow Strike suppressor so we can stay off the radar. We once again have the Mark III reflector, the Varanus steady grip, combined with the recoil reduction butt plate, and then finally the FSS last stand comb. And with this setup, we still have a very noticeably more accurate version of the gun compared to the base recoil. However, it's not quite as accurate as the previous one. And when it comes to our aim down sight speed, this is noticeably improved now at 343 milliseconds, and it's a similar story with our sprint out speed. This is improved by a noticeable degree. It's now 258 milliseconds. So this one is honestly not a bad setup if you do want to be getting around the map a little bit. This allows you to do that more effectively than the previous build, but obviously you still have to keep in mind you're using an LMG. You're going to be slower than a lot of the other guns in the game. And this just leaves us with one last setup that I wanted to share for you guys, and this is using the Jak Nightshade Rifle Kit. And with this, we're using the X10 ported 290 muzzle, which significantly improves your vertical recoil, and that's really needed with this gun. I know horizontal is typically what you want to focus on, but with this setup, it just climbs so quickly vertically that it's nice to get that under control, and I found that this was the best for me personally. We once again have the Mark III reflector on there, the recoil reduction butt plate, and the Varanus steady grip, combined with, of course, that conversion kit. And with this, while the recoil is still worse than the base version of this gun, it's at least very noticeably improved compared to just using this kit on its own, and it's at least somewhat reasonable now. Obviously, this isn't the type of setup where you want to be stretching out your ranges at all. You want to treat this much more along the lines of an assault rifle or even an SMG, to be honest. And with this, our aim down sight speed is very noticeably improved from the base at 267 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also great for an LMG at 198 milliseconds. That's more along the lines of an assault rifle. Our time to kill potential, again, with this kit, up close is 280 milliseconds, which is amazing, but that's only within 12.7 meters, so you want to try to keep yourself within those really close quarter situations. And then finally, just wanted to point out, we are cutting our magazine capacity in half. This only has a 30-round magazine rather than 60. And with that, that's going to wrap it up today's gun guide on the DG-58 LSW. As for my thoughts on this gun, I'm honestly not a big fan of it at all. I think it's perfectly usable, especially with the right setup. You can use it, you can find some success, but it's just not very good overall. That time to kill potential makes it not very competitive in those closer range engagements or in its maximum damage range. And then if you go beyond its maximum damage range, it still has a slow time to kill, and it's also not the most accurate gun out there. So it just doesn't really have a whole lot going for it, but it's also not like completely terrible in every single way. Now, of course, these are just my opinions on this gun, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.